The unbelievable history behind Adidas. Adidas, the company born from sibling rivalry. Did you know that Adidas had 57,016 employees as of 2018? Since its breakthrough in the 1950s, the company has continued to grow exponentially, with its net worth amounting to $23.21 billion in 2023. What more? The brand was so successful in Romania in the 90s that the word Adidas now means sports shoes in their language. How many other sports shoe brands have that influence? The answer is none. The history of Adidas is like no other. Even though the childhood of the founder is not really known, the beginning and current story of the brand will certainly have you glued to your seat. It is riddled with family feuds, controversies, and public backlash. Some would argue that Adidas is a company born from sibling rivalry, but the truth is, the sports shoe company has a far more grim history. In this video, you will find out the ugly past behind the beautifully designed sportswear. So, sit back as we embark on this ride together. Today's video is sponsored by Sky is the Limit. Chapter 1. The Beginning. Adidas, the brand that has kept fascinating its lovers for over 5 decades, is the combination of its founder's first and last names, Adolf Dassler. He was born in Herzogenaurach, Germany. Adi, as he was mostly called by his family and friends, was a lover of craft. He would often experiment with anything he could lay his hands on when he was growing up. These included cartons, plastic, iron, and anything that could be molded. Eventually, he settled on learning cobbling. At a time when Germany had just finished a war, he would go into town and mend people's shoes. He did this to support himself while he figured out what to do with his life. We could go on with the story of Adi Dassler and how he founded his multi-billion-dollar company, but his story would never be complete without talking about his older brother, Rudolf Dassler. These siblings were gifted in similar but slightly different ways. What do I mean? While they both loved shoe business, Adi was more of a craft person, while Rudolf was more of a marketing person. This complementariness would explain why they worked together and stayed close long before their bitter split. In 1920, after Adi returned from World War I, he started making sports shoes in his mother's laundry room. The war had just ended, so it was difficult to find supplies. Nonetheless, Adi foraged through war sites to find rubber, plastics, metals, and canopies used for tents, bread, and water pouches. With these materials, he made running shoes with spiked soles. In case you are wondering what influenced his decision, here it is. At the time in Germany, people were getting interested in sports and were looking towards participating in national and international sports. His brother, Rudolf, had always been interested in police work. It was therefore no surprise when he enlisted and got trained. Rudolf went on to serve for a few years, until he felt he had done his part in serving the nation. Upon his return from the police force, he joined his brother, Adi, in the shoemaking business on the 1st of July, 1923. In 1924, they registered their company as Dassler Brothers Shoe Factory. Both brothers worked themselves to the bone, trying many styles and designs with different materials. Soon, they started making sales, and before they could tell what was going on, Joseph Weitzer, a former Olympian who had become the coach of the German Olympic track and field team at the time, visited them. He saw what the Dassler brothers were doing and was hooked from the first time. He traveled from Munich to Herzogenaurach, where their factory was situated. From then on, a friendship that lasted many years was formed. After the visit, they formed a partnership of some sort. Joseph, being at the center of the sports business, would inform the Dassler brothers about what was in vogue, what the athletes wanted in their sports shoes, and what could potentially improve the shoes. By early 1928, the Amsterdam Games were held. Luck was really on the Dassler brothers' side, as most of the footwear in the international game wore the brand Dassler. To further add to their success, a certain German middle-distance runner who went by the name Lena Radke won gold. And guess what he was wearing? Yeah, you guessed right. He was wearing Dassler shoes. Before we move on, do you like sneakers? Well, if you do, I have good news. Sky is the limit is an online store where you can shop for trendy and quality footwear. There is a link in the description box that will take you straight to their website. You can always check them out after this video, and who knows, you might just find the perfect kicks you've been looking for. Now, let's continue with our story. Chapter 2. The Dassler brothers, Adolf and Rudolf Dassler, were determined to make their business work and willing to go the extra mile to achieve this. In 1936, their luck came through when Berlin hosted the Olympic Games. It's important to note that the Dassler shoes had become quite a force in Germany at the time. They were the primary supplier of sports shoes to all the sports events that took place in Germany. Their friend, Josef Weitzer, ensured this. Remember, he was a coach at the national level in Germany, so it was quite easy for him to recommend their sports shoes to athletes that needed quality shoes. Nonetheless, there was still a yearning to break into the international market, and the way to do so was to get their shoes on foreign athletes' feet. You can now see why they thought the Olympic Games were specifically brought to their country in 1936 just for them. What did they do next? Adi Dassler took their best shoes and approached some foreigners. He encouraged them to wear the Dassler shoes. And since their breakthrough was destined to happen at that time, most of their prospects agreed to wear them without question. One of the athletes Adi approached was Jesse Owen. He was an American track and field star. At the end of the games, he had copped 4 gold medals. Not only did he win by a landslide, but he also broke his own record in history in the process. Seeing this, many people started looking to buy the shoes that ensured Jesse Owens' success. Needless to say, the Dassler brothers recorded a lot of sales following the event. Their dream of breaking into the international market had finally come true. Chapter 3. Soon after, Germany was heading to another war, as World War II had just begun. Since they had both joined the Nazis, they couldn't escape war. They fought the war, and at some point, their shoe-producing factory was turned into a weapon manufacturing base. During the war, most factories had to close down. The Dassler shoe factories were spared for a while until they were closed down temporarily. After the war, both brothers came together to rebuild their lives, but Rudolf soon began to find his brother's high-handedness unbearable. Also, at this time, they had both gotten married, so their family issues were getting in the way of business. At first, Rudolf thought he could bear it, but soon they both split up, albeit painfully. Adi got 2/3 of their entire workforce, and Rudolf went on to form his own sports shoe company, which we know today as Puma. Chapter 4. The Rise of the Phoenix. In 1949, Adidas was formed, but it wasn't exactly a cakewalk. After the painful breakup, Adi went on to rebrand his shoe factory. First, he renamed it by combining a part of his first and last name to form Adidas from Adi Dassler. He also wanted something to distinguish his brand from the rest. He started experimenting with many colors and designs until he discovered the 3 stripes that became what Adidas is known for today, even after many years. Since he had just rebranded, it was difficult for Adi to retain their old customers, but he was never a quitter. He started coming up with really cool designs that soon caught people's attention. Again, luck smiled on him in 1954 during the Second World Cup after World War II was fought. The event took place in Bern, Switzerland. The tournament ended with Germany winning Hungary with goal counts of 3-1, and just like 1936, the athletes from Germany were sporting Adidas shoes. It was a huge win for both the country and Adidas because from then on, every sports person wanted to wear a pair of Adidas shoes. The now popular 3 stripes became a sort of symbol of success in the sports industry. But hold on a second, Adidas wasn't done shaking the world. In the 1980s, a famous rap group called the Run DMC liked Adidas so much that they sang a song titled My Adidas. The song got very popular, especially with other Adidas lovers. The band held a concert and invited one Adidas representative. In the middle of the concert, the rap group leader asked everyone to hold up their Adidas shoes. To the representative's surprise, a good number of the people present wore their Adidas shoes. Until then, Adidas didn't know anyone could have so much influence. For the rap group to continue what it was already doing, Adidas made them an ambassadorial deal. By this time, the company had realized what a celebrity influence could do for a brand, so they started to sign stars from different sports. Some of the stars they collaborated with included David Beckham, Muhammad Ali, Lionel Messi, Aaron Rodgers, and James Harden. In the early 2000s, Adidas started a campaign titled "Impossibility is Nothing" with Muhammad Ali, a professional boxer who was at the peak of their career. The campaign resonated with a lot of people as it motivated them to reach for their dreams. Chapter 5. Adidas-Nike War. In the sports shoe industry, it's no news that Adidas's biggest rival is Nike. If either of them could find a way to send the other to Mars so that it could dominate Earth, it wouldn't hesitate. The silent war between Adidas and Nike is the most prominent brand tussle after the Colas War. What exactly is the reason for the strife, you might want to ask? Well, here it is. Adidas has been in business since the 1940s, but mainly in Europe. Nike, on the other hand, didn't come into existence until 1964. Since it was established in the States, it was easy to penetrate and conquer North America. Now, this is where the problem started. Adidas is a German company, but like most sports shoe businesses, it hardly feels seen or heard enough until it claims a substantial share of the market in North America, the region where sneakers sell the most. With Nike holding up to 60% of the market, it guilelessly became Adidas's biggest rival, who also wanted a share of the cake. Over the years, the two sports shoe companies have been at each other's throats. For instance, whenever Adidas launched a campaign to attract customers, Nike followed suit with an almost similar campaign theme just to ensure that the other brand did not get all the spotlight. When it comes to partnerships and collaborations, Adidas and Nike are also trailing each other and looking for loopholes. A popular instance was when Nike partnered with Michael Jordan and produced the widely bought Air Jordan, which has also continued contributing to Nike's annual sales. Adidas, too, partnered with Kanye West, who also designed the Yeezy Boost 750, which was also an instant success. Now, Kanye pitching his tent with Adidas was not a problem. What was slightly disturbing about all of this was that Kanye had initially been involved with Nike. But when asked, Kanye said his creativity was stifled at Nike. What's more, since he left Nike, 3 other top designers have also moved to Adidas. While Adidas is not in the same league as Nike financially, they both have been nurturing a loyal fan base with technological trials and innovation. Neither brand is giving their customers a reason to switch camps. Both companies have evolved from designing and selling sports shoes to other types of sportswear and sports equipment. From the look of things, as long as both Adidas and Nike are doing all the right things to stay in business and please their customers, it doesn't look like the war is ending anytime soon. Chapter 6. Adidas Today. After Adi Dassler's death in 1978, the company passed on to his son, Horst Dassler. Horst Dassler also passed away in 1987 at the age of 51 due to complications from cancer. After this tragic occurrence, the company was sold. As of today, Adidas AG owns and operates the company, and no one from the Dassler family is on the management board. Rather than a family-owned business, as it was when the Dasslers managed it, it is now a multinational corporate group with ownership vested in numerous stakeholders. Also, the brand has a sizable stake in the German football club Bayern München. I bet you didn't know that, but there you have it. Since Adidas was bought, it grew from a sports shoe-making brand to producing clothes, tracksuits, and sneakers. The company was also not afraid to collaborate with designers to broaden the scope of its offering and continue satisfying its customers. One such collaboration was with Yeezy, a shoe designing company owned by an American rapper named Kanye West. The agreement was finalized in 2015, and together they launched new lines of sneakers that were successful by any yardstick anyone may want to measure with. Sadly, their relationship had to end in 2022 because Kanye wouldn't stop making hate speech and inappropriate comments about certain people. It's time to hear from you. What do you think about Adidas? Do you think the company would have done better than it ever did if the two brothers had not fought and gone their separate ways? Let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this. And finally, remember that impossibility is nothing. Don't ever stop going after your dreams because sky is the limit.